1961's West Side Story is often considered to be one of the greatest musicals of all time. Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins beautifully brought the incredible music from Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein to life, giving Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet a modern update with star-crossed lovers from two different communities in 1950s New York City. Remaking a film with such a storied legacy as West Side Story may have seemed like an impossible task, but Steven Spielberg managed to reinvigorate the iconic musical by making tactful, creative revisions to the original source material alongside screenwriter Tony Kushner. Although 1961's West Side Story is a classic, it's not without its flaws, as the casting of Natalie Wood as Puerto Rican character Maria remains a stain on the film's legacy. By recasting the role with Rachel Zegler, who is currently starring in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Spielberg's version of West Side Story was able to improve upon its predecessor. 1961's West Side Story, Whitewashed Maria. West Side Story feels timeless because of the inspiration it draws from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet to explore how generational hatred can drive two communities apart. In the original film, the young Puerto Rican woman Maria Wood falls in love with her classmate Tony, Richard Beamer, a member of the Jets gang. Tony's friends in the Jets encourage him to be more violent and lash out at the Puerto Rican Sharks whenever they come into contact with each other. Maria's brother's girlfriend, Anita Rita Moreno, who played a different role in the 2021 remake, encourages her to go to the school dance with a member of their community. Despite the pressures that they both feel to stay within their selective circles, Tony and Maria fall in love. But just like Romeo and Juliet, they pay the ultimate price for their relationship. While the story of West Side Story is powerful, the original film struggled to make the relationship between Tony and Maria work because of the whitewashing. Wood's casting sticks out like a sore thumb, as she's clearly trying to emulate an experience that she doesn't understand. Wood can't be faulted for her casting, but her miscasting is particularly noticeable during the scenes that she shares with Moreno and George Chakiris, who plays Bernardo, the leader of the Sharks. Moreno and Chakiris' performances show the beauty of Puerto Rican culture, particularly during the performance of America. It's the rivalry between the cultures of the Jets and Sharks that adds tension to the narrative. 1961's West Side Story never makes Maria feel like an authentic member of the Sharks. The romance between Maria and Tony doesn't become as emotional as it was in the original Broadway production because it never feels like the two characters have different worldviews. Even though the film shows the Jets and Sharks in constant conflict with each other, it never takes the time to flesh out the Puerto Rican culture in order to show what makes it so unique. The lack of detail takes the specificity out of the story, making the dark ending feel like it was written for tragedy's sake. Rachel Zegler's casting in West Side Story was authentic representation. Spielberg's version of West Side Story didn't just replicate the original. The film spends more time fleshing out New York in the late 1950s and showing why anti-authoritarian adolescent groups come into conflict with the police department. While the film's ensemble does a good job of embodying the performances that came before, Zegler's performance as Maria is a significant improvement over Wood, as Zegler herself is Latina. The authentic casting choice made the story's themes more prominent, as the audience has a genuine reason to sympathize with Maria when she is pulled between her love of Tony and her loyalty to her community. The ending is more heartbreaking because Maria is able to hold on to both of her loyalties without feeling like an outsider. Maria's initial meeting with Tony, Ansel Elgort, at the school dance has an entirely different context. In the original film, Tony and Maria express their love for each other through a musical number that does nothing but highlight their mutual attraction to each other. In Spielberg's version, the words of Maria are the same, but Tony and Maria are forced to dance behind bleachers so that their relationship will not be discovered. Zegler shows how Maria's love for Tony goes against everything she's been taught about the Jets. Since Anita, Ariana DeBose, and Bernardo, David Alvarez, demonize the Jets, Maria is taken by surprise when she sees how sensitive Tony is. Zegler's performance in the iconic musical number, I Feel Pretty, feels more jovial as a result.